morning, you gorgeous lot, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Vicky and my channel is everything motherhood, fitness, fashion, lifestyle. So if you like what you see, I would love you to stick around. This video is my 8 tips to make your life easier with a newborn. So I understand if you haven't got a newborn, you won't want to watch this, but maybe if you're planning to have one, this is just some of the things that I do that make my life easier and have made my life easier since I've had baby number 2. So a little bit about myself if you are new. I'm a mum to 2 boys. I have one boy that is 5.5 and his name is Oscar, and I have a little boy that is just over 9 weeks old and his name is Spencer. So these tips are in no particular order. So tip number 1 is baskets. Bit of a strange one. So these baskets I picked up from IKEA prior to Spencer being born. I will link them in the description box below. So these I keep one in the bedroom and one in the living room, and I also have a large one in Spencer's bedroom. But the 2 that I keep in the living room and in the bedroom are absolute lifesavers. So I'll just run through what I've got in them. I have a selection of nappies, a pack of wipes, and some hand sanitizer. Also a change of clothes, so a spare baby grow in there. Now the reason for these is when you are in the living room and you need a nappy or some wipes, you need it to hand really quickly. You don't want to have to run upstairs. You don't want to have to find your change bag, especially if they've just done a number 2. And also, whilst we're on the subject of number 2, the spare clothes are there because it always happens when you've got no time or you're about to rush out the door, so it's really useful having a spare change of clothes in there. And then the hand sanitizer so that you can sanitize your hands after you have changed the baby's bottom. So I find the one in the bedroom also super useful because in the middle of the night, again, you don't want to be turning on the lights, go into the baby's bedroom and finding all these bits. So I keep one of these in the bedroom. I top them up probably every 2 to 3 days. So when they're starting to look a little bit low, I will pop something in there. Tip number 2 is hand sanitizer. So something I have just touched on briefly is the hand sanitizer that I keep in the baskets. So I keep one in the bedroom, one in the living room, and I also have a mini bottle of hand sanitizer in my change bag. So not only is it good for when you've changed a nappy and you can't get to a sink, it's also great if you do have another child, a toddler. The other day we went to sort of like a farm place and the children were feeding sheep, and they cleaned their hands with a wet wipe because we were nowhere near a sink, and then I got them to just sanitize their hands so that if they did want to touch their face or pick up any food or touch the baby, they were clean. So I haven't got OCD, but I do think that keeping that in your bag and also dotted around the house for nappy changes is so useful. So tip number 3 only applies if you are formula feeding, and that is 2 perfect prep machines. So you may have already seen my video on the perfect prep machines when I talked about newborn splurges. I have 2 perfect prep machines. They're made by Tippee. I have one in the bedroom and one in the kitchen. At first we only bought the one, but then it became apparent quite quickly that it was a bit annoying having to take it upstairs and back down every day. I know that sounds lazy, but they are quite inexpensive for the use you get out of them. So there are 2 types of perfect prep machines. They have the original perfect prep machine, which I'll show you, and they also have the new perfect prep machine. Now the only differences between the 2 is the newer model, which is the one we have in the bedroom, has the LED display, and also it is quieter. And when I say it's quieter, I don't mean the bottle making process. I mean there are loud beeps on the older model, which if you had it in your bedroom would be too loud for the middle of the night. So that's why we have got the more expensive one upstairs and the cheaper one downstairs. I think they're roughly £50 different, something like that, £40–50 different, but they are worth every single penny. So those night feeds in the middle of the night, you don't have to get up, go downstairs, make your bottle, wake the baby up. Usually, because my husband's working, I don't want the baby to cry and wake him up, so it is so useful to be able to make your bottle within like a minute and it's there to hand and you don't really need to go anywhere. The next tip is also for formula feeding, but keep watching because there are other tips that aren't just formula feeding. So tip number 4 is formula dispenser. This little handy dispenser I got from Asda, and I think I only paid £2 for this. So every night when we go upstairs, we fill up each compartment with 5 scoops because that's what Spencer's on at the moment. So in the middle of the night, again, to make your life easier, you just open the lid, pour it into the bottle, and it's the right amount of powder, because when a baby is hungry and you've got to measure out that powder bleary-eyed in the dark, it's not that easy. So this really is a lifesaver. I also keep one in the change bag, and I've always got some powder in there. So if I did go out and I ran out of the pre-made bottles, which I take with me sometimes, I've always got some powder and I know exactly how much is in there. So tip number 5, again, is aimed at bottle feeding. Tip number 5 is basket of bottles. What do I mean by that? Basket of bottles is exactly as it sounds. So it's this basket full of bottles. So we got this little basket from Tesco's, I think. It's an Addis basket. You can get them from anywhere. And we fill this up every night that we go up to the bedroom. We take 3 bottles up with us because that's what Spencer's on at the moment. He'll wake up twice in the night and have 1 in the morning. So I take the 3 bottles up. I also take my milk dispenser, which I've just explained to you how that works. So I will put 3 lots of 5 ounces of powder in there. And then I have a bottle of Infocol. So Infocol we give Spencer for not necessarily colic, because he doesn't have colic, just for trapped wind. I give it to him every feed and he's a dream. He doesn't scream in the night, he doesn't really get trapped wind. Sometimes he does, but all babies do. I really feel like that. I should have done that as a separate tip really. So that's kind of, yeah, that's sort of a separate tip. So I take this basket upstairs with me every night and pop it on the side, ready for the night feeds. Again, it's really easy. I know where everything is. And then in the morning, we pop the dirty bottles back in the basket, take it back downstairs. It's so much easier as it's got a handle on the end. So if I have got the baby in one hand, I can carry this down so that I can then wash and sterilize the bottles in the morning. So tip number 6 is towel in bedroom. Towel in the bedroom. So what I mean by this is we keep a towel in the bedroom for those nighttime nappy changes. I don't want to be putting my baby on a cold change mat and wake him up. I want my night feeds to be as seamless as possible. You may see a theme going on with all these things. The night feeds I find are the hardest because you have disturbed sleep. The quicker you can get your baby back to sleep, the better. So I keep a towel in the bedroom to pop him on to do those night changes to protect the bedding really. So if he does have any leakage or anything that's going on, the towel is going to collect that. I can then just wash the towel in the morning and it's nice and soft for him to go on. So as you can see, I just keep this hung up on a chest of drawers in our bedroom, nice and easy to reach, don't have to go far to get it, pop it on the bed, pop him on top, it's nice and warm because it's been in our bedroom. So again, really, really easy. So tip number 7 is zippy baby grows. Zippy baby grows you may have already seen or you may already use. There are no buttons, no poppers, so you've just got this zip that runs all the way from the top down to one leg. Zippy baby grows for the night feeds. For the middle of the night, again, as I've said, making those night feeds as easy as possible. If you are a first time mum, those poppers can be so difficult to navigate your way around, even for second or third time mums, but they are quite hard because you're like, oh, have I done it right? And then you might think, oh, I need to turn the light on to try and get it all right. But these are so easy. You just zip it down. I mean, they're so self-explanatory. This little one is from John Lewis, but you can get them from most places. I've got some from M&S. I've got some from H&M. I've got some from Asda, even do them in the Biddy Fairs range. So they are super easy to use in the middle of the night. Again, running along the theme with keeping those night feeds and changes as seamless as possible. So my final tip is tip number 8, and that is keeping the bedroom dark all night. So tip number 8 would not be possible with all the above tips, number 1 to 7. So as I've said a few times already, I keep pressing on the fact that those nighttime changes and feeds need to be quiet and as seamless as possible. Something we didn't do with our first son. So we used to get up, take him downstairs, prep the bottle, warm the bottle, cool the bottle, change him in his room. Everything was really bright and light and it stimulated him and he did not want to go back to sleep. Now, that may have been because of what we'd done, but also it may have been because of his personality. So I understand all babies are different. However, this time around, I was not going to leave any room for error. So I have been so over the top with making sure that I make sure those night feeds and changes we do in the dark. So keeping the bedroom light off. We keep the hall light on, so there is a little bit of light coming in, so I can see what I'm doing. The Perfect Pet machine has a light on it as well. Obviously, if you're breastfeeding, great, you don't really need a light. You can just see what you're doing, put your baby on your breast. But keeping that room dark and not stimulating your baby is so important for getting them back to sleep and making your life easier, because let's face it, if we all get enough sleep, we can tackle the day, and we are super mums. So that is it. Those are my 8 tips to make your life easier with a newborn, mainly focused around those nighttime feeds. If you liked this video and you would love to see more, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.